fight.
Yeah.
Because Joshua's going to try to make an example out of him, for sure.
And will.
I mean, Anthony Joshua is one of the biggest one-punch KO artists ever.
Yes.
I mean, he's a one-punch night-night guy.
Yeah.
Hey, if Jake Paul gets knocked out, will his career be over? Buddy, his life may be over if he gets knocked out by AJ, because that dude put Francis Ngannou flat on his back, and I had never seen Francis Ngannou hurt before. Again,
I don't think that I would ever consider having a debate about whether Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul is a proper fight between two bona fide champions. I think Jake Paul is someone that's creating a lot of opportunity for himself and using sport as the anchor for it. And will I watch it? No. And do I value it? No.
Joe Rogan warns that Jake Paul is entering extremely dangerous territory by even entertaining a fight with Anthony Joshua. Rogan reminds everyone that Joshua is an Olympic gold medalist and one of the most devastating punchers of this generation. He believes Joshua wouldn't just try to beat Jake, he would try to send a message to stop him from calling out elite champions just for headlines. Rogan stresses that the skill gap is so massive that the outcome could turn brutally one-sided.
Joshua, good Lord. Good Lord. I mean, that's a big if. Right?
I mean,
Anthony Joshua,
I do not think.
Olympic gold medalist, former heavyweight champion of the world. What he did to Francis Ngannou, good Lord.
Yes.
Do you want that smoke?
Yeah, I just think it's all about the promotion or whatever. I have no idea what the actual motivation is for. That fight's not competitive at all.
Well, it's a dangerous fight.
Yeah.
Because Joshua's going to try to make an example out of him, for sure.
And will.
I mean, Anthony Joshua is one of the biggest one-punch KO artists ever.
Yes.
I mean, he's a one-punch.
Host of the Wade Concept podcast gives a serious warning to Jake Paul, saying a fight with Anthony Joshua could put his health at real risk. Plemons notes that Jake walks around at roughly 90 kilograms, while Joshua competes at about 111 kilograms, a huge disadvantage in size, strength, and power. He adds that there is a big difference between choosing opponents for entertainment and stepping in with a proven heavyweight champion with Olympic-level credentials. Joshua is an Olympic gold medalist, after all. Plemons argues that if Jake gets knocked out by Joshua, the effects might be long-lasting, calling this matchup not just a mismatch but potentially life-changing. He believes Jake's money-driven ambition is overshadowing the danger he's walking into.
That's the former heavyweight champ. Why is he fighting Jake Paul? And two, why is Jake Paul putting his health and well-being on the line? Because someone asked me on Twitter, Wade, if Jake Paul gets knocked out, will his career be over? Buddy, his life may be over if he gets knocked out by AJ, because that dude put Francis Ngannou flat on his back, and I had never seen Francis Ngannou hurt before. Again, it's boxing, not MMA. Jake has a little more experience, but we're talking about a massive size difference. AJ's still relatively young and still relatively got something left in the tank, and he's only fought the world-class guys for the last 10 years. This would be Jake's not only hardest fight, most dangerous fight of his career. If Jake is doing this, it could signal the last one. I'm not even joking. This could signal Jake being like, I'm having one more of these and I'm out. Because where do you go from Anthony Joshua? We'll get into that part in a second, but the Netflix thing. We know that Anthony Joshua is an exclusive fighter to DAZN. Eddie Hearn has stated that multiple times. AJ, I'm pretty sure, even has a piece of DAZN. I could be wrong about that, but he signed a mega deal years ago with them. So for this fight to take place on Netflix would mean DAZN would say, you can have one of our biggest cash draws, and I may be in a revenue share thing, or maybe Netflix pays them some money, but you can have our biggest cash draw and we don't have an affiliation with it. That seems a bit unrealistic. But having said that, this isn't a report from anybody in the camp. This is not MVP saying it. This is not Eddie Hearn saying it. This is Mike Coppinger, who I guess has talked to people in the camp. But an independent source saying that they are finalizing a deal. Not that they're in talks. They are finalizing a deal. So this is, again, we're talking 1 yard line, first and goal.
Kingdom reported on X that Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua is now being negotiated as a full professional fight. Not an exhibition, a real bout under official Queensberry rules. This confirms that the matchup is being taken seriously under full regulations, sanctioned judges, referees, and scoring, highlighting how real the stakes are. Rumors that the fight could land in December are spreading quickly. Yet Eddie Hearn, Joshua's longtime promoter, insists that the talk is premature. He says no official contracts exist yet, and much of the buzz is speculation. Meanwhile, Ariel Helwani, a respected combat sports journalist, believes the volume of discussion suggests something real is happening. Helwani says when rumors pick up this much momentum, they usually point toward an actual event, possibly late this year or early next. Despite Hearn's caution, Helwani thinks the fight could become reality sooner than fans expect.
Paul are finalizing a deal for a heavyweight fight on Netflix in December in Miami. Sources tell Ring Magazine Paul steps up massively to fight the former heavyweight champion after his exhibition with Gervonta Davis was canceled. Major props to Paul. So there you have it. In the midst of all this, I did reach out to Eddie Hearn, as did Gareth, and he said, "We have spoken, but nothing close, and I doubt he would be so crazy." He being Jake. I then asked him, "Would you say this report is premature?" He said, "Absolutely." And then I said, "Can I attribute this to you?" And he said, "Yes." And so what do we make of this, guys? Do we think there's smoke to this fire? PT, what do you think? You think this is something that could actually happen? This would be within the next month, right? This would be sometime between now and probably December 19th or so, in that time frame. What do you think?
I think it's a huge fight. You know, I didn't expect this at all. Usually when Jake is in a fight, the odds feel like they're stacked very much in his favor. This is the complete opposite of that. I'd very much agree with Gareth A. Davies' take, which was I'd expect Joshua to obliterate him in a boxing match. I mean, look what Anthony Joshua did to Francis Ngannou before that Dubois fight. Like, I mean, it was a completely different affair than the Tyson Fury fight. I think, having heard Eddie Hearn's update and having looked at that tweet again, it feels like boxing's equivalent to the old in the works reporting that we used to see in MMA an awful lot, right? Like when we weren't quite sure, maybe one side had verified that this fight is happening, but you can't get the other side to commit, and it's in the works. It's a huge fight. The one thing I will say is, why would you want that out there? Why would the Ring report this? Why would someone give them that information if it wasn't going to happen? Now, because everything else pales in comparison to this, as far as I'm concerned. Every other fight that they had perspective or potential, I don't think it's as big as Anthony Joshua. So I don't know.
This isn't a ring fight, right? This isn't a ring fight. Anthony Joshua is tied to DAZN. Anthony Joshua has a relationship with Turki Al-Sheikh in Riyadh season.
Fighting shared Leon Edwards' reaction on X regarding the rising chatter about a potential Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight. Edwards said that if AJ doesn't knock Jake out within 1 or 2 rounds, then something must be wrong. His comment highlights the massive gap in skill, power, and experience between the two. Edwards suggests that Joshua's dominance should be overwhelming, and anything else would be shocking. Coming from a reigning UFC welterweight champion, the remark underscores just how dangerous the fight would be, and how little confidence people have in Jake Paul surviving Joshua's power.
But this fight's in the works, Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul. As a Brit, how do you evaluate?
Just in that, someone just told me about that. That's mad. Fair play to Jake Paul, first of all, for taking it. But if AJ doesn't knock him out in like 1-2 rounds, then I feel like the fight must be fixed or something, because I'm going to Anthony Joshua, obviously, for the KO. So yeah, when is it, you know?
It's going to be next month they're working towards.
Oh yeah, sick. Yeah, I'm going AJ for the win.
Cheers.
The former MMA heavyweight champion turned boxer faced Anthony Joshua and suffered a vicious knockout. The loss proved Joshua's power is very real and his heavyweight skills are no illusion. Jake Paul had previously explored a potential fight with Ngannou, which was already ambitious considering France's reputation. Now the target has shifted to Joshua, an even more dangerous challenge. Jake is now eyeing a man who not only stopped Ngannou, but has repeatedly shown that his size, speed, and technique make him a terrifying matchup at heavyweight. In simple terms, Jake is chasing a fighter who beats someone as dangerous as Ngannou, a move packed with huge reward but enormous risk. Earlier conversations explored Jake Paul versus Francis Ngannou. Francis publicly rejected it, calling the idea disrespectful and insisting he wouldn't waste time fighting a crossover influencer boxer.
He can go with Francis. So now all of a sudden you start satisfying both ends of this. Okay. So when that falls through, the rumor is that Francis and Jake are still in talks. even though Francis did not come through on the event he was offered and the date he was offered, MVP and Netflix may be willing to reschedule everything and still make him part of it. And Francis' big statement was just, hey, this doesn't make sense. No, it's not what I'm looking for. Doesn't make sense. Okay. That's not my business. I can't be mad at Francis for that. That just cost Francis a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. That just cost Francis life-changing money. I can't be mad. If I'm mad at Francis, then I got my way. He cut off his nose to spite his face. I can't be mad at him. He's already been punished. What good does it do me to be mad at him? All right. Well, then you bring in Joshua. Joshua shows you how it's done. Right? Joshua and Francis are not remarkably comparable. Not only did they box, they're not remarkably comparable, but in the world of boxing and just the accomplishments, I mean, you take Joshua Benson, Olympic finalist, for goodness sakes, right? Just like lifelong, very well known. Multiple generations of boxing ties. You know, go all the way back to Klitschko. Go all the way back. You couldn't go before Klitschko was there first, but you go all the way back to Klitschko. Anything that has ever happened in the sport of boxing says you can tie Joshua to. And he's a professional, and above everything else, he's a real boxer. So if he is to say something makes sense, then it makes sense. Right? If you have Joshua's opinion of does this make sense to, now none of us know what sense means. We don't even know if he's spelling it with an S or a C. None of us can define or tell you what this means. It makes such little sense that Francis can't even tell you why it doesn't make sense. But again, I can't be mad at Francis. He already pissed down his own leg. So, but if you could have Francis's opinion of what in the world of boxing or combat or money or business